as a media personality on WICC down in Southwestern, we have like over 1.5 million listeners. And when we talk about the issues that happen here in America, people call in with all types of ideas. Some of them a little crazy, some of them not so much. But I know that they care about this country. For me, I grew up in Connecticut. I lived in Boston, I lived in Miami, down in Florida for a while. And I'm concerned about this country and what type of country we will have for our children and our children's children. My speculation today, my statement today, is what type of country do you want to have? We have people who are in office, and I run into folks, they say, hey, it doesn't matter who's in the office. It's going to be all the same. You know, we've heard this all before. And I want to tell you about a guy who's in there right now. I don't know how many of you have paid attention to Mike Johnson. He is now the Speaker of the House. Where did he come from? Well, he came from a state, Arizona. And before then, he's one of the guys who was the architect of the takeover to stop the steal. He believes in he's a whole anti-climate person, doesn't believe any of that either. Super anti-abortion, absolutely against the LGBTQ plus community. The thing I want to tell you, though, have you heard about his wife? Kelly Johnson, the spouse of the newly elected speaker, this is from Vanity Fair, runs a counseling business that is, in its operating documents, compares gays to, amongst other things, having sex with family members or animals. Specifically, Onward Christian Counseling Services 2017 operating agreement, this is the agreement that you sign up, this is what my business does. We believe that the Bible teaches that any form of sexual immorality, such as adultery, fornication, homosexuality, bisexual conduct, bestiality, incest, pornography, or any attempt to, is sinful and offensive to God. There's also a part where she runs this deprogramming part as well. Send me your gay child, your gay husband, your gay wife, and we can fix that for you. They had a podcast before he was put up there with the president to have to fight and stand, and they're supposedly fighting for the rights of all Americans. Now, this is the House. He has just been elected Speaker of the House a few months ago. Now, when you have stuff like this, how do you think that our representatives go and speak to people like that who are already dug in? That's why you are so important, because we have the power to vote. Right now, Ron DeSantis will likely be the guy who runs with Donald Trump to be the vice president. Let me tell you what Ron's doing down in Florida. Well, Ron decided that they are going to, let me get this straight from him. You can't make this stuff up. The Florida Governor, Ron DeSantis, signs a bill requiring the history of communism to be taught in the lower grades. I think that's beneficial, right? I mean, maybe he knows something I don't know. I know that he further has the history of black history being rewritten, and it says Rosa Parks, in the revised version, stated that she was told to move to a different seat, not because of the color of her skin. She was just told to move to a different seat. Now you're changing history. You're rewriting history. You're teaching this to kindergartens, first grade, second grade, third. And remember, these are the guys who talked about indoctrination. I don't think you get any more indoctrination than that when you're telling kindergartners, first graders, second graders. He also stated that black people benefited from slavery. We got somehow work skills and so on. This man wants to be the vice president of the United States. What kind of country would this be, and especially with a guy like Donald Trump who still says it was stolen? And the people who follow him, he's already said if he's elected, he's going to absolutely pardon every single person who is in jail because of what he calls not having an insurrection. It matters that you are here. It matters that people like you stand. It matters that you have the right information. That's what this corner, to me, is about. Exposing these types of things, and they are uncomfortable as hell. But this is who is running the country from the House. The Senate, and I talked to Chris Murphy, I talked to Senator Blumenthal, I have Congressman Himes down there. They're ready for the fight. But there are some states that they're flipping. Arizona just has the most strictest abortion laws in the country. They just banned abortion pills, period. Labeled them dangerous substances, the same ones that have been helping and affecting families for over 40 years. There are other states looking at how they do this. There is a difference in this country of what we want. Do we want a country that doesn't care about gay people? Do you want a country that's about anti-gay, anti-black, anti-immigration? As black people, we've had a unique experience here in America. For those that were lucky enough to come here and migrate, whatever the situation was, God bless you. That was an incredible thing that the United States did. It is still the best place on the planet. Unfortunately, we didn't get that choice. The majority of black people in America came over to make money for someone else. Slave ships. I can't trace my history back, and I'm glad that you guys can. It's something that most people very much admire, because I can't tell you what my name was in Africa. I can find out basically what part that was, but part of subjugation is you have to take the humanity from that person. You take away someone's name. How powerful is that? You take away their name where you can't trace back. Where does that leave you? But we're resilient people, and we still manage to build America without the benefit. Without the benefit. So today, that's why you hear so many black people want reparations, so on and so forth, because it's like, can we get something? Back in the early 1800s, out of Missouri, you know, they had basically a great land grab, okay? Where all you had to do is go to Missouri, be in a certain place at a certain time, Saturday, 12 o'clock, bring your wagons, bring your kids, and they'll just take off, and wherever you plant your flag, that's your land. That was phenomenal. That's what helped to build everything in that west to California. We didn't get to do that. So that's why so much matters when you hear these issues that black people are talking about. We didn't get a head start with generational wealth. We can't go back to 3 generations and we own that house down on, because it was very difficult to possible, because after slavery, redlining came in. You know, they wouldn't rent to us. I mean, it was just a whole crazy thing. This is the greatest place on the planet. I would not want to live anywhere else. But America's kind of having a hard time looking at its difficult roots. And that's why we're seeing things faced at the Jews right now, because there are people out there that always had a problem with the Jews. There's people out there that always had a problem with blacks, Mexicans, Muslims. And if you give them the right platform, the right okay, it comes to the surface. Right now, the biggest thing is white male replacement theory. If you haven't heard this, let me make it kind of simple for you. You seen those flyers that have been dropping around Connecticut? And they're dropping them on the lawns, and it's happening down where I am, Trumbull. They don't drop in Bridgeport. Okay. They seem to pass that by, okay? Norwalk, New Haven. But in the suburbs, Fairfield, Westport, I got family, I got friends out there. They're going, Wayne, what the hell is this? When you open it up, it talks about how white males are victims, that black people are taking things from them, that gay people are getting too much power, that Jewish people are really the issue. They're not understanding, or let me correct that, they do. They understand that if you're fighting amongst each other, it makes it easier for them to win. They want a country that is like what we saw when we had the takeover on January 6th. Those men were coming to hang the vice president of the United States. Remember him? Bring him down. They brought a gallows with him in the United States of America. We have a problem here, but it's people like you who are going to make the difference, because in the end, the majority of people who are white Americans, black people about 14% of this country, Latinos somewhere around 18, it's always been the righteous people, the abolitionists, traditionally the Quakers and such. That's how we got there, because they are not the majority. They just make the most noise. I want to give you two things before I leave. Labels. I understood what he said about Zionists, because he loves his country, he loves Israel, but he doesn't have to agree with the policies or whatever that they're doing. Same thing here. Love America, but there's things that happened during the Second World War where we didn't fight with our white counterparts in so many different places. We fought in every single war for one thing, the issue of freedom, to be given that. And it didn't get here till the 60s. We had to have a bloody, quote, civil war during that time, which was the 60s. Finally, we got the right to vote, and what do? They shoot the guy who has the most respect on the planet in the chest and kill him. What a price to pay. These people are not gone. I said labels because there's a word called indoctrination I spoke of earlier. We still are winning. Remember the word, well, three of them actually, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We were winning. That word woke meant there were people paying attention. We had moms, dads, young children holding signs up that said Black Lives Matter, that they matter. The people on the other side who had a problem said, oh my God, wait a minute, this is getting to be too much. We can't have that time of unity coming together, because that can't be our agenda. So they immediately started their own thing, and they called it woke, and then they labeled it, okay, if you're doing anything for DEI, here we go. The white male replacement theory. And this is from them, by the way, not me. You go to their website, this is what they believe. We are being slighted. White males aren't in the same place that they were in their positions of power in the past. And so they start using that to take people who are disillusioned to say, hey, you got to deal with those guys. We're in a place that's going to affect our kids in this next election. If you don't hear anything else this November, I expect to be back. But this is the election that's going to make a difference. You see those polls? They know what Donald Trump's about. When Donald Trump first got elected, I had very good Republican friends. Wait, let's give him a chance, man. You never know. Well, he went in with Steve Bannon. If you know Steve Bannon was already had a long-time network that was as racist as it got. Mein Kampf, all of that stuff. Hitler, you name it. It was already there. He makes him his chief of staff. Now, come on. What did you think was going to happen? So here we are as time goes on, and now we're in 2024 with someone we feel is a little bit too old to be in there. I think I know a lot of great people who are a little old, but their minds are sharp, razor sharp, and they could put me under the table any day, any time. That's what we have up there in the White House right now. So don't let all of the labels. Don't let those things that they're trying to sell you, do not buy it. Because the one thing they have succeeded in, and I mean our Republican brothers out there, they can sell a message because they're all of one thought process. They can say it's about peanut butter sandwiches, and that's what they'll talk about all across the country. Our strength as Democrats and so on is our weakness because we have to get everybody's thought in. When you have to do that, it gives a chance for people to convolute things. The word conservative is not what conservative used to be. It used to be saving money on spending. It used to be traditional values. Now conservative means, well, if I think I should make a decision over a woman's body, I'm just conservative about it. Just conservative. If I believe that, we should change the history books, that's a conservative view. Well, that always was racist. And here's the final piece. There's a guy named Richard Spencer. You guys should look him up. He's been supremely effective, and I think you know who I'm talking about. Supremely effective in bringing in young people. He coined a term called the far right when President Obama was elected. And he clearly says, we don't feel that our position is being represented by the Republican Party, so he makes it the far right. So that sounds kind of warm and fuzzy, but that's the umbrella for the Oath Keepers, for the neo-Nazis, for the skinheads. That's their Republican power, and they are not trying to push these guys out. Just saying, hey, it's conservative identity. This is the new conservative. If my Republicans are friends, as I often say, if you're out there, work on separating that for us. I think what Rick and his family has done, I'm blessed to be here. You guys could be anywhere on Memorial Day. You already had the impact with this family right here. You can't ask for anything more from a community. You sang beautifully, by the way. So forgive me if I don't remember everybody's name, but I would come here any place, anytime, anywhere, because you are what America is about, the true America. They're louder, but they're smaller in voice, in noise. They have a huge platform. They own the radio stations. They own 85%. So if you want to hear anything that makes any sense, it's hard. So that's why something like this at 400, you got to clap for this, 400 weekends in this space. I couldn't find anything anywhere that came even close to that. So look, you guys, I appreciate you fighting racism and social injustice. It's not a paycheck. It has more to do with your moral compass. It's going to be your moral compass, your moral confidence. And you guys show it every single week, man. So I'm really proud of everyone. You guys have a great Memorial Day weekend. I pray for the soldiers who have all lost their lives, those who served, and I salute those that are serving now. And I definitely support the people who are out on Memorial Day. And thank you so much for keeping this thing alive for my man Rick and the rest of us.